Hi, Kylie here, and welcome to my plan with me for January 2022. Now, anyone who's been playing along will know that I did my setup for 2022 actually at the beginning of September, because that's when I changed over to a new journal. I can fit about 8 months into a bullet journal, like one of the Archer and Olive ones that I use. So that means it'll be 3 years. Like, I'm not starting a whole new one just for, 2022. It's like, no, I'm just going to continue through. Like, my life doesn't restart at the beginning of a new year anyway. So I'm just continuing through. So, it'll be 3 journals over 2 years, and that's perfectly fine. What I am doing though is my 3 words for 2022, because I of course didn't have them defined in September. So this is going in here. Now, my 3 words is something that I got from Chris Brogan. I started doing it a number of years ago, and it's basically you select 3 words that sort of set your intention for the year. So my 3 words are persistent, which is about that little quote that I put there, keep being brave. So it's about continuing to grow my skills around animation and illustration. It's about continuing to grow my business and to put things out into the world, and just, basically just continuing to be brave and do the things that I find hard. The second one there is connected, because I've noticed in the last few months that really I've been way too disconnected from other human beings. So I need to spend more time with others and make a conscious effort to do that. I need to create more space for me, making sure that I'm really being aware of my mental health. And I need to have a little bit more creative time, because I do have a habit of getting really busy with client work, and then my own creativity sort of suffers because I don't get to do the things that I actually want to do. And there are some things I really want to do. So I'm going to make sure I'm scheduling time for me. So just basically being connected to things that bring me joy and bring calm into my world as well. The last one there is structured. It's one of those things that I am a very process-driven person. I was an information manager in government for many years. So it is bizarre that I don't have my own processes captured and defined, because quite frankly, it causes me stress that I don't. So I really need to sort that out for some of the things that I do around client work. I also need to organise my digital space and keep my creative space a lot tidier, so that this works well for me. So they're my 3 words. I decided to do a little quote to just basically go alongside that and set it up a little bit of how I'm feeling at the moment and for 2022. And that is a little Honoré Matisse quote, which is creativity takes courage. Now, because it's Matisse, I've done it in a Matisse-like style, which is very not me, but it was fun to do. It's always interesting to challenge my style a little bit. And again, this is a space for me to play. So it doesn't matter that, it's not something that I absolutely love, because it's playing and it's making me do something a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is okay. So previously on these pages, I just had focus. I've decided I'm going to put that into projects, which is about things for me. So what I want to focus on for my work for the month, what client work I need to focus on, and then if there's just any other things that I need to remind myself that I need to be very mindful of for the month as well. The theme for January is gardens. Now, again, if you've watched my other videos, if you've been watching along for an entire year, you'll know that my theme for January 2021 was also gardens. So I made a comment when I put up December that I was thinking about how I was going to do my bullet journal for 2022 and whether I was still going to share and what else I was going to be doing. And this is what I've decided to do. So I'm going to theme my bullet journal nearly the same as it was for 2021. I say nearly the same because it's one of those things. I did a month of birds. I'm not going to do another month of birds, but I'll change that to be a month of animals. Or I might pick another specific animal and just do that. But I'm not going to do another month of birds. But themes like garden, which is very broad and open and it allows me to play with a lot of different things, I don't have to change. So I'm just playing around with the themes a little bit, but largely they're going to be the same as they were this year. Partly that's to allow me to go back and see how I'm changing in how I think about doing things and some of my skill levels around different things as well. And partly it's just there were quite a few of those topics that I just really enjoyed doing. So why would I change it? Just stick with it. I don't need to make it different, so I won't. Um, so yeah, theme is gardens. Other things that I'm doing with my bullet journal for 2022, I'm going to continue to do the videos, obviously, because this is what I'm doing here. I'm probably only going to share the title page, the quote page, and the mood trackers. They're going to be the three things that I'll share with you in me actually drawing them. I will share the flick through of the entire month and the layouts that I've put in there, but I'm probably not going to share the weekly, sort of all the weekly layouts and drawing all of those with you. I'm trying to get these videos back down a little bit, although for this month that didn't sort of work because I had the setup of my 3 words in here, so that's sort of thrown the timing out a little bit. And I have included a couple of weekly layouts because there are a couple of things I enjoyed. So look, I'm already blowing it out the water, but hey, just so that you know, I'm going to continue to do it. It may look a little bit different than it did previously. And hopefully you like this camera angle. It's taken me a little while to play around with some things, but I think this sort of works as a way of being able to show you what I'm drawing, keeping my hand out of the way a little bit. But yeah, it sort of works with the tools that I have rather than me having to acquire anything new to do it. So let's see how this goes. One of the other things that I am doing with my bullet journaling this year is that I'm going to take something out of each theme, so the elements that I draw in here or other things that I draw in the build up to it or whatever, I'm going to give you some printables. So if you subscribe to kyliedunn.com, which is my blog, my website for basically for my year of TED, for this weird thing that I did. But that's also where I put sort of all my personal creative stuff. You will be able to download a printable each month that will be something along the theme of what I'm doing. So for this month, there'll be some flowers for you to be able to download. And you can use them in your own bullet journal. You can use them in whatever way you would like, except of course, they are still copyrighted and owned by me, so you're not allowed to sell them to other people, you know, little things like that. But apart from that, they're yours to download and use. Now, please don't feel concerned that if you subscribe to my mailing list, I'm suddenly going to start spamming you and selling you things and everything else. I would like to get to the point where I actually do email my subscribers once a month to tell them the things that are going on and to let them know, hey, I've put some new videos up and here is a printable for you and blah, blah, blah. If I manage to do this, I will be incredibly shocked. If you hear from me once every 3 months, that wouldn't be surprising. Sometimes that time period can be even longer, but it's really just me saying, hey, I've done a couple of things and yeah, here are some things for you as well. So, you know, don't get too stressed that I'm going to suddenly flood your inbox. That's not going to happen. You probably also will need to check that my email might go into spam or junk. So if you do subscribe, please just go in and check that and put me into the list of safe or known sort of people so that you don't have to keep hunting in there for that. So that was my garden. For my title page, and I decided to put a little quote in here. This is from Cicero. If you have a garden and a library, you have all you need, which I just thought was a nice little quote around gardens. And I will, of course, have a theme that will include books again this year. So this year for 2022. So yeah, I thought this quote was a good one for me to put in here as well. Now, I just want to briefly mention the whole thing around what this bullet journal is for and how this basically works. And for any of you who don't already bullet journal, to not freak out. This isn't bullet journaling. So this itself isn't bullet journaling. This is me using my bullet journal as a sketchbook. And it's really important to remember that you don't have to do this in order to bullet journal. The actual function of bullet journaling is just the process of how you keep track of the tasks you need to do and how you're sort of capturing those and making sure that it's a simplified way to do that process and keep you focused and on track with things. This itself is, like I said, this is just my art practice. This is one of the things that I found gives me focus to actually do art practice, because I can get really poor at sort of making sure that I'm actually going through and drawing and creating and doing all of those things. So this gives me focus and forces me to actually sit down and go through a topic and think of how I might represent that and what I might do. It's not essential to bullet journal in this way. And if it intimidates you and this is the reason you're not bullet journaling, then please don't do that. Just find out about the basics of how to bullet journal, and you don't have to do all of this creative process. I find this quite zen-like. It's quite a process for me. The fact that I'm recording it really has no impact on me at all at this point in time, except now I've got to sort of change the camera angle. But apart from that, I really don't even think about it. It's quite a zen process for me to just sit down and create. And look, I get things wrong. I put colors into things, like for some reason, my brain, when I was doing this, like I created a couple of colors that I'm like, they don't match with anything. Why did I think that was going to work? But who cares? This is my bullet journal. This is how I'm tracking the tasks I need to do, and also capturing a little bit of journaling and reflection about how things are going and things I need to focus on and everything else. So it doesn't matter if I get it wrong. And it's one of the reasons I decided that it was a really good idea for me to continue to do this and share it, because it is a really good way of beating my perfectionism back a little bit. Like, trust me, there's on the next page, I wrote Monday the 5th. Like, Monday's obviously, it's the 3rd, but the pencil mark looked like the 5th and I wasn't even engaged in thinking about what it was. And so I just traced over it and then realized I got it wrong. Well, that doesn't matter. Who cares? It's my journal. I'm going to have a lot of other things crossed out in here or misspelt or whatever because it's my journal. I've also put a colour onto one of the layout pages that I'm really unhappy with. And I probably will mention it when we get there. But hey, what are you going to do? So it's a good process for me to do this and actually share it, because, it is just good for me to occasionally give my perfectionism a bit of a kick. The green on this page, for example, I'm not a fan of. And the other colour that I don't like is another green I've put on another page. And it's just because tonally they don't match with the others. And it's like, well, that colour just doesn't go in with the more muted colours of the rest of the page. But hey. So yeah, don't bullet journal don't not bullet journal because you get intimidated by having to do this, because you don't. But definitely consider it. It's a really good way of organising things. But also, please make sure you have some sort of creative outlet in your life. Give yourself a little bit of creative practice, whatever it is. Being able to make things with your hands, whether that's, art, craft, baking, woodwork, whatever it is. Being able to make things with your hands is a really important thing to do. So I hope you all have a bit of a creative practice, particularly in the world we currently live in. Giving yourself something that is, just a nice way for you to be able to create will do wonders for your mental health. It really is a very powerful activity to do. So yes. All right. So enough of my preaching about that. The layout on the previous page, those watercolour dots with small flowers drawn in them. I've been doing those for quite a few months now. I actually came across them on Instagram, and I want to say it's the Pale Paper, but I will check which Instagram account I sort of discovered them on. And I just really like the idea. It's quite a cute little practice. They're nice little detailed things to draw, but they're just small and contained, and you don't have to be doing like a full picture. It's just these tiny little sort of dots, which is nice. And it also allows me to practice like mixing some colour, which obviously for some reason yesterday or the day before when I drew this, I didn't do exceptionally well, but we'll leave that alone. So yeah, it's it's just one of those things. It's a nice little activity, and that's going to be sort of the shareable that you'll get. I've got some already done and ready to go. I've just got to finish tidying them up a little bit. So hopefully that will be up on my website in early January. Like I said, if you do want to subscribe and get those printables, then that's where you'll find them. So the layout of the previous page, I've never done that sort of the columns layout before. I see it a lot in some of the bullet journaling Instagram accounts that I follow, and Archer and Olive sort of on their account, they have a lot of it. So I thought I'd give it a try and see what it's like as a layout. This one I just really liked. I liked how that one came together, so you got to see that one being drawn. But this is the layout. So my 3 words for 2022. And then January. So my garden, my quote, you'll see my client tracker has turned into a work tracker to keep track of my projects too. The health trackers, I've added physio in there because I'm not good at doing my physio exercise, so I need to track it. And the different weekly layouts. So this one was quite cute to draw. The next one is the page that I really just don't like, that green down the bottom, just don't get me started. And then just the final page. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great start to 2022, and I will see you in the end of January.